I never saw myself represented.
You watched everything just because you were happy they were there.
A lot of people like to say it's just hair.
When you work in an industry that's constantly tearing you down.
I felt like I was the only person in the world who looked like me.
It was really hitting the market.
People can't deny it anymore.
When you have more diversity of perspective, it's going to play out in so many ways, and one of those ways is hair.
The Los Angeles Times published journalist Makita Easter's article, "The Black Hair Revolution is Happening Now on a Screen Near You" in 2018. This article is about the revolution of black hair perception and expression from the 1930s to today, and how film has become a vehicle of resistance to reclaim black identity. In the framework of the African diaspora, this article explores the legacy of slave trade, civil rights movement, and reclaiming and validating identity and expression regarding racial and cultural identity and aesthetic politics. I invited Makita Easter and others to reflect on their experiences and perceptions of the implications of the black hair revolution in film.
You look at films as the films are going to reflect the time period.
Going back to the 30s and 40s, this was still in the time of segregation, and Black people were just being seen on screen for the first time ever and like getting roles. And of course the roles were like servant, mammy, that kind of thing. So I don't think it would be expected that there would be afros or Black-centric styles, because they were barely getting the right, unfortunately, to even be on camera.
Bouffants, beehives, and bobs were popularized in the 1960s. Nichelle Nichols' portrayal of Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek was historical for being one of the first Black characters who were not a servant or singer.
In the 70s in particular, that time was tied to the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement, which was about like reclaiming your beauty as a Black woman or Black person, your Afrocentric features and hair. And so that kind of that form of thinking, that like movement, was directly translated onto screen with like the Blaxploitation film era.
You see such things as the Afro, for instance, which is a very American hairstyle, but it becomes so popular that you begin seeing it, whether people are talking about Africa or elsewhere, even though the Afro travels from the US to Africa, right? It's not the other way around. I came up in the 70s and 80s, and Black shows were small and far and few between, so much so that you watched everything just because you were happy they were there.
In the 80s, there was like, in general, kind of after the women's movement, civil rights movement, there was a conservative president at the time in the 80s. There was like this pull back toward white, Eurocentric, quote unquote classic standards of being. And we saw that play out in film too, with straighter hairstyles.
These aesthetics will change depending on the time period and what's happening in the larger culture. The films are trying to reflect that, they're trying to appeal to that.
With the hair revolution slowing from the 1980s to 2000s, consequences from the lapse of representation is felt by millennials and Generation Z.
Black theater was actually my first introduction into Black culture as a Black person, because my family is white.
I have natural hair, and it was kind of a journey to get it. I grew up, like, I had a relaxer when I was 4.
I'm Puerto Rican and I'm Black. I mainly was with the Black side of my family a lot. My aunt was always trying to braid my hair and put it in braids and all these kinds of things.
My mom always did like a great job trying to take care of my hair, but there were so many things that I rejected or like wouldn't do for my hair because it was too Black.
I would say growing up, I didn't see a lot of representation. I think the closest thing to that was Jessie with Sky Jackson up there. But at most she had her hair in twists, not really out.
I grew up not seeing natural hair on film ever, which led to a lot of self-hatred when I was growing up as a kid.
When you're like 8 or 9, you're not thinking about it like in this political sense, but I think like subconsciously it is important and it matters.
I didn't think people would ever want to see me, which discouraged me a lot from pursuing acting.
I loved Disney and like loved Disney princesses, so I would have loved to have seen like a Black Disney princess when I was growing up. I mean, there's like Princess and the Frog, but I was already like a teenager at that point.
When I was in 7th or 8th grade, that's when the Hunger Games came out, and Rue had her natural hair, and it made me feel genuinely like like I actually felt pretty for once when I saw how many people loved Rue. It really made me start to embrace my natural hair a lot more, and I stopped straightening it.
Yeah, I have 2 twin daughters right now, and so I'm going to be going through, but they are toddlers, and so we haven't reached that level of hair love. But when I saw it, I said, oh, this is going to be me soon with 2, right? Because I don't have any experience with with doing hair, right? And so right now, my wife is the one who's kind of teaching me through, but it connected with me because it said, there's my future, but twice.
I do wish now that mixed-ish or grown-ish, Insecure, which is with Issa Rae, even though they're all adults, it still highlights us in a very, very nice way. I do wish that was out when I was younger.
Things like Black Panther, where there actually are genuine, like, Black and African influences with characters now that are being seen in film that are unapologetically Black, who have whatever accents from whatever cities that they're from, who are as loud or as quiet or as educated as they like want to be, and showing that there's diversity in Black culture and that it's not just one note, has made me feel a lot more comfortable in my skin. And I wish as a kid I had been able to see all of that.
Today, it's even more diverse.
We no longer have to go through a system in which we are being told by directors no or told by writers no or anything like that. We can just create the content on our own and put it out there.
You see a large diversity of hairstyles because of things like social media.
It was really hitting the market. It was really hitting YouTube. There was all kinds of Black, brown women, mixed race, all types of hair on YouTube, giving tutorials. This is how I've grown it. This is how I've used this.
And there's all this like Black girl magic, Black boy magic, and there's like a celebration of who we are.
I started wearing my hair out more and not with product in it, having like defined curls, but like in froze. And I saw girls around me saying like, wow, that's so pretty. I'm gonna start doing that.
Finally, Black people are able to highlight these things from their past that have been passed down through generations that they can now bring to light.
For some people, having locks or whatever are an African retention movement.
There's a lot of new things that are being developed, new styles, new music. I think that there's a lot coming out of that, and I think all it is just big mixtures of the past and the present.
I think part of it becomes less of a retention, I would say, is more of an attempt to create identity and create links that are broken rather than an unbroken link of retainment. It's more, I want to find a way to have these links.
A lot of people like to say it's just hair, but it's not just hair because it comes from generational. Braids are generational. Braids are not something that just came up. Braids were used for the Underground Railroad, for which way to go. Braids were used in tribes to identify them. So to go back to that, it's a lot, it's transformative. Because I've had damaged hair. I've been to a point where I dyed and bleached my hair and flat ironed to the point where it was straight and it was thin and it was falling out. And I went through almost 3 years of growing it out for it to be fully healthy and curly, and it completely changes everything. It's like when you wake up and you go out and your hair's not done, you're like, I'm not myself. It's a sense of identity. It's how you identify yourself.
People can't deny it anymore. People can't push it away because people know that it is content people want to see and people will consume.
There's not enough Black hairdressers with big movies or big films, or if there are hairdressers, I mean, if you're a hairdresser, you gotta know how to do every type. You can't just choose to do one and see another and go, you're fine, or you do it. No, I hired you for a reason. You know, Black people are now hiring Black people and helping Black businesses as this is happening.
Now there's a lot more room to actually bring in those features that may have been rejected in the past.